Welcome to the 30th episode of Speaking in Your Basement. Sometimes it's going to be shitty, guys. You probably all already know this from living life. Sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to. But the interesting thing about that is you can't get really good at anything until it goes sideways. A sailor who can only sail on calm waters is not much of a sailor. So I'm not expecting everybody to feel awesome when things are going shitty. But you can kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Once it starts going sideways, that's when you have the opportunity to really get good at something. Or to get good at life in general. To get better at handling crisis situations of a mild variety or drastic variety. You can get a little better at all of that when things go sideways. Just yesterday, I had a Toastmasters meeting, and I had training that ran up right until the Toastmasters meeting. I was supposed to get a break, or was supposed to end a little bit earlier, and I figured I'd have a little time to prepare. I didn't. And then the Toastmasters meeting was a little bit special because in addition to performing the roles we normally perform, we were also adding in an explanation of the roles for newer people. So sort of walking people through what we were doing as we were doing it. And then immediately after the Toastmasters meeting, I'd found out shortly before, I had to go and pick up my daughters. I'd taken early lunch, go pick up my daughters because my wife was in Denver and she couldn't get back in time to pick them up. Well, that's not incredible. That's not, professional athlete levels of stress. That's not, multi-million-dollar business levels of stress, but it was enough to put me a little bit on edge. And so while I was delivering my portion, which was an evaluation in the Toastmasters meeting, I was stumbling over my words more commonly than I typically do anyway. Now, I'm sure you've heard me stumble over my words here a little bit. If you've been paying attention, if you've been watching, I'm sure you've seen me stumble over my words. I usually don't do it that much. At this meeting, I did it multiple times in this relatively brief segment that I had. And I was a little frustrated with it at the time, but I felt kind of good afterwards. And I can't say exactly why I felt good about something going sideways, but my best bet is it was a challenge. A lot of times I'm going through this and there's not that kind of challenge that stretches me. It's enjoyable for me to speak to people. I like doing it. I wouldn't be sitting here talking if I didn't like doing it. But I'm not always challenged when I keep doing it in the same or in similar ways consistently. I have to find new things. And yesterday I didn't really find it. It found me, but it challenged me. And even though I stumbled a little bit, even though it didn't go as well as I wanted it to, I was happy to have had the experience. Today we're revisiting a problem in our house that we thought was handled a few years ago. Well, we've been handling it off and on for the last few years. But this is Colorado, so it's very dry out here. We went approximately 5 years without a sump pump, without even realizing we didn't have a sump pump. So then water table rose is what we were told. We started getting some flooding in our basement. We find out there's no sump pump in the sump pit. We have to get a sump pump. So I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version. It's very much longer than that, but we got it resolved, or so we thought. Well, the water table's still up, so that sump pump has been running almost constantly for the last several years. And recently, it failed again. We just found out today when we got some flooding in the basement again. And at first, I was really frustrated with it. I was like, just too much going on lately. I don't have enough in me to handle this. I can't face this. But then we got on it, and I was able to find a pump we had used a few years back as a temporary solution, used that, rigged that up, and now the water in the sump pit is lowering, and we've still got some water we got to clean up. But the problem, at least temporarily, is being handled now. And things are a little bit better because of that. You can't get good at something until things start going sideways. Whether it's just problems that come up in life from owning a house or a car or whatever else you happen to own, they're all depreciating assets in a sense. You got to keep maintaining all of them. They're all going to take a lot of time and energy to maintain. The house is definitely one of those, as I'm learning. Or where it's something you like to think you're good at, just turning up the pressure a little bit and noticing, well, when there's a little more pressure, I'm not nearly as good as I thought I was. But guess what? That's exactly how you get better. So keep coming back to it. Surely you've heard me say that by now. Keep up with your daily practice and challenge yourself. Because if you willingly engage with the challenges, if you see if you can make it go sideways a little bit, then when life sends it sideways a little bit, you'll be a lot more ready to play. And when you show up ready to play, that's when you get better. I'm Ben Langley. Thank you very much for spending some time on me today. We'll talk again soon.